in studio, we've got a very special guest. Now, did you know that there's only been one woman leader, president of the Law Society of Kenya? Did you know that?
I didn't know. But
Imagine, there's only been one.
Na venye kitu imekuwa kutoka 1992.
They've been like 45. They've been like 45 chair people. Only one has been a woman. Now the question is, I asked you, dear MVPs, ingeni hapo Twitter, who is that lady who's been the only chair lady of Law Society of Kenya? And in studio, we've got an aspirant. I don't like that word. I don't know. It sounds weird. Because it rhymes with paspirant.
I'm a contestant.
Inasankaku, paspirant. Exactly.
Aspiration.
Yeah, but aspirant.
Aspiration.
There's an aspirant who's looking to definitely change that situation and be one of the presidents of the Law Society of Kenya, or the president of the Law Society of Kenya 2020. She goes by the name of Maria Mbeneka. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you, Kwambox.
I feel like your microphone is not working. Let me sort that out. Remember, Morning Vybez is the show, and you can call us up, by the way. Brian, wapatie number
0719012700, na pia mnaweza kutuangalia hapo kwa mtandao vibesradio.co.ke kutuona live video. Hata ukitaka kuona venye Kwambox leo amejipodoa.
Nani amejipodoa?
Si wewe.
Nani amejipodoa?
Wewe umejipodoa,
mimi nimeji. Don't be cheating.
Mimi nimeji.
All right. Maria Mbeneka, good morning.
Good morning, Kwamboka.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Sasa, ebu tuanzie tu. Why has it taken this long to have a woman president for LSK?
We just haven't had people stepping up for this position. Ladies specifically.
Yeah.
But this is it. We're here. We're 2 contestants who are female. Imagine. Out of the 4. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting time to be in the Law Society of Kenya.
I mean, speaking of what's happening in the Law Society of Kenya and also in just the judiciary, we've seen Maraga really struggling to get funding. Mm-hmm. And we have a situation where the judiciary is being called the weakest link in the fight against corruption. Maraga has basically, if I could quote you, saying that he sounds like he's begging. What do you think, going in as president, do you think you can do to help the situation?
Excuse me. The first thing we need to understand is that Maraga is not helpless. Mm-hmm. He has options. Yeah. And as the Law Society of Kenya, one of the key stakeholders in terms of the judiciary, remember lawyers are officers of the court. Mm-hmm. We suffer just as much as the judiciary, if not more, when the judiciary is not working. So for me, going in as president, the first thing to do will be to impress upon the executive to look at this issue of funding more critically, because we cannot have a treasury that is willy-nilly holding the judiciary, and at ransom. Mm-hmm. The way the funding goes, in terms of the judiciary and any other body in Kenya where you're receiving funding from the exchequer, is that it takes too long for Treasury to disburse. Mm-hmm. So we need to actually look at the law currently, because now we're talking about amending the law. I mean, this is a discussion that's going on. If you look at BBI, if you look at Punguza Mzigo, if you look at, many years after the Constitution was promulgated, what is it that we can do to ensure that these bottlenecks are not experienced? Mm-hmm. Because these are critical services that the judiciary is offering. Mm-hmm. We must then look at amending certain sections of the law, and even compel the judiciary to have, if you would, a standing order, if you would, so that you're not having to wait for disbursements 2-3 months down the line that have been held because the treasury has not disbursed the amounts of money that are required in a timely fashion.
But what do you say when, because even if you look at pretty much the counties are having the same issue, the ministries are having the same issue.
Yes.
What makes the judiciary special?
Well, it's the judiciary is not special. The judiciary is one of the 3 arms of state.
True.
It's a critical arm of state. Mm-hmm. It offers, service delivery in terms of access to justice. And if you and I know that, if you don't have justice, you have anarchy. Yeah. The judiciary is one of the key players in upholding the rule of law. Mm-hmm. And basically, we operate in a civil manner because there's law.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a judiciary that's working, if you don't have a legal justice sector that is working, then you're going to have a problem. And even more importantly, just looking at the complementary services that come with the judiciary. If you're looking at the other justice sector players, the DPP, the police, if they're also underfunded, then they're going to hamper the services of the judiciary as well, because now you have people talking about delayed justice, or you're not getting prosecutions, or you're not getting convictions. And there's a chain reaction, if you would, or there's a link that is missing in terms of connecting the dots. And it starts with funding, it starts with resourcing. Do we have enough prosecutors? Do they have enough resources to do their work? How are the police paid, for example? Are they able to secure decent arrests, proper investigations, so that what comes to court then is a watertight case that then the judiciary can give a conviction.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we've got Maria Mbeneka. She is an LSK aspirant. She's going for presidency. Whatever questions you've got, remember you can use #VybesMVP. When we come back, we're going to be talking about, you've had a bunch of leadership roles.
Yes.
You've been there, done that.
Yes.
We're going to talk about, is this the same tenacity you're going to have when you're in the office? Or you're just going to play ball with guys in there?
Catch the vibes on air and online.
We're talking to LSK presidential aspirant 2020, Maria Mbeneka. Maria, you have, let's just quickly go through, like, in terms of leadership, what you have been actively participated in.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been the vice president of the East Africa Law Society from 2016 to 2018. I was elected as a council member of the Law Society of Kenya in February of 2018. And I've been serving there as a treasurer. I'm also the ICT and IP convener, and I sit in several committees, conference planning committee, and sitting in various, like the Judiciary committee that came up with the e-filing regulations. Yeah.
Brian, before we went on break, Brian had a question.
Yes, watu wa Kasarani wamepata digital OB. So at least right now it's very easier for them to document criminal cases in that area. But what does it mean for me as a citizen, a common mwananchi, in terms of me accessing justice? Because chances are very high that I'll be arrested for a small offense, but by the time I'm actually sorted out, it's just that najua mtu, najua nani na nani amekama kanisotia. So how are you going to come as a president for LSK and make access to justice easier?
Okay, there's an organization or a grouping of all the organizations called the National Council on Administration of Justice. The CJ sits on it, the DPP sits on it, IG, president of the LSK, all the legal justice sector players. There is already a process afoot to integrate these institutions, including prisons. So for me, the first thing to do is immediately actualize that, because they're going tech. We all need to go tech. So we have like sharing of information and platforms, so that when an OB is taken, it's digital. Right? Even your charge sheet needs to be digital. So everything needs to be happening at the same time, because there's no point of having e-filing and yet you still have to go and do a physical process, like with the police and everything. And once that is done, because believe you me, today when you apply for your good conduct, you can get it quickly, because you do it from the comfort of your phone. So it needs to be the same all around. Now when it comes to going to court and you don't have a computer, you don't have a lawyer who's filed the pleadings for you, the courts, the judiciary must have the kiosks at the judiciary or at a place that is near me, because it's about access. So think about M-Pesa. They have kiosks all over. So have a complementary service, perhaps even with Huduma centers, where if I can go there, sijui kuandika, sijui kizungu, sijui vile, how to present my case, then I have assistants that will help me file. So if we're going tech, we go tech all the way. And that will be, for me, a key mandate as president of the Law Society of Kenya.
I mean, that's great. But let's remove the tech aspect of it. Most people who really, because there's that saying, justice is for the rich. Yeah, you'll find, how many stories have I told you? Mtu sijui amepiga kuku, sasa anaserve 10 years in jail. Mwingine amepatikana na tubangire kwa mfuko. Tubangire za 180.
Ule msa
kuosha choo. Now imagine by the way, you need to follow up on this story.
Msali shikwa jokes.
Alifanya?
Alikuwa na chapa bangi.
Alikuwa ako kwa nyumba yake wakafanya sweep hapa kwa sijui Mkuru and then alikuwa na bangireza 180 kwa mfuko. This guy went to court and said, in fact, me, I don't even want to be tetewad because you come try and work where I work. He cleans public toilets. And he said that's the reason why he has to have this product in his pocket.
So he admitted guilt.
You see what I mean? Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
So, but if it was someone, if ingekuwa mtoto mwingine wa source pali, amepatikana nazo vitu, he already knows. He'll get a lawyer who would tell him, don't open your mouth. Don't say this. Don't say that. So, what in terms of legal aid, what are you looking at? Because that's the biggest challenge for most Kenyans.
Actually, in my manifesto, in one of the points that I've raised is that we have to have a full-time legal aid program because currently LSK has a 1 week, once a year program. And we found that that's not enough. I personally don't think it's enough.
It's not.
Even if you find a new case, how will you follow up, for example? So even because we have the numbers, just look at the number of lawyers that now are coming into
17,000.
Into the profession. We have to have a full-time legal aid program that is diversified. Sio criminal na civil peke yake. If you're an entertainment lawyer, if you're an IP lawyer, if you're a tech lawyer, if you're doing extractive industries, you must be able to offer legal aid, some hours of legal aid. Because even our interface with the public, the thing that you've just talked about, it's a very simple thing that we can be able to help at wherever we are in this country as lawyers. Currently, we have lawyers who take up pro bono briefs because there's something like that exists. The problem is that they are not paid on time by the judiciary. There's I think it's 30K per file. Then KRA goes on to tax that 30K. It's not even fees. It's you helping out. And then it takes so long for you to get remunerated. And sometimes they even come after you saying that you've not filed your returns, etc., etc. So the first thing I want to do is say to the judiciary and the government, don't tax pro bono briefs because it's us giving our time. That 30K is not even enough for the fuel and the time that you spend going. If you're in Malindi and you're going to deal with a dispute with a criminal case in Hola or in Lamu, Mpeketoni, and even by the time you get to court, umeshapitana na Al-Shabaab. It's crazy. So for us to be able to take up more pro bono legal briefs, we need an understanding with the government. We have the National Legal Aid Authority in place. The act has been implemented. And we want to partner with the government. We want to partner with Kituo cha Sheria. We want to partner with Kenya National Human Rights Commission and the judiciary so that we can have a successful when people are taken to court, they don't have to be held in remand. I'll tell you today, if you go to many of these remands, you'll find mothers
pending
with kids.
Cases.
And even because when they went to court, they didn't understand what was going on. You pleaded guilty. You didn't have to. Lawyers are willing to do it, but we have to make it easier for us to be able to do it. So the first thing on our side as LSK and what I propose to do as president is have a full-time legal aid program. We are going to have a directorate. Out of 8 recommended directorates, we're going to implement 4. One of them will be dealing with public interest litigation and legal aid programs so that we can have our lawyers being proactive and getting into this legal aid to saidia wananchi.
This all sounds so fantastic.
Thank you.
You have 2 years.
Yes.
Will this be enough? Because we have seen even, other people have like 5 years and,
Was
2 years enough? Because, you're talking about setting up the app, you're talking about changing policies, working with stakeholders, including government, the judiciary, to bring people together on the table to, make work for lawyers easier, legal aid. Is this possible in 2 years?
It's possible because we have 13 council members who are going to get elected. If you look at my manifesto and those of the others, of the 13, you'll find cross-cutting issues or similar issues. So we're going to collapse all our manifestos. Whoever gets elected, let's look at what's common. Set an agenda and a tracker. So the first quarter, what is it we want to achieve? The second quarter, what is it we want to achieve? And it's possible because we've devolved practice and welfare issues to the branches. So the National Council is basically dealing with policy. We're basically dealing with disbursement of funds to the practice centers and the branches. So we must incorporate the branch chairs for this to work quickly. Otherwise, we can't do it on our own.
In the event that you don't win, are you willing to work? Because you still sound like all those things. I'm just like this. Whatever happens with this election, can we get these things?
Absolutely. This is something I'm willing to actually follow through, whether I'm in council or not, because it's important for us as a society to first get together with technology. We need to innovate or we die.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is this legal aid, it's critical. We must do it. And then the mentorship platform that I've talked about in my manifesto, because it's dealing with apps and it's dealing with technology, making sure that pupillage is actually something that doesn't make you suffer and cry. And mentorship, because one of the things that's affecting the quality and the standards of training or even legal practice is the quality of mentorship and the quality of training rates tight. You know, if you look at the way we train at KSL, the way I was trained 17 years ago is the same way people are still being trained. Yet when you get out here, it's a different story. Even the way we train within the profession, that needs to change. So I'm willing to give service to my society, because it's still my society. I'm still going to be a lawyer for many, many years to come.
Yes.
And I want to be a lawyer in an environment that is exciting, in an environment that understands me, in an environment that is inclusive. So these are all things that I'm going to be able to do with others through our LSK committees.
All right, 11 minutes to 9 a.m. When we come back, we're going to have the final words from the aspiring chairperson of the LSK, Mbeneka. I'm going to ask you one question. There's one we had asked the MVPs. Who is the only lady who's ever been the chair lady of LSK? For you, I'm going to ask you, BBI. Because, you know, there's a lot of mambo jumbo in that document. When I come back, I'm going to ask you a question about BBI, which you will help me with.
So,
Catch the vibes on air and online.
In studio, we've got Maria Mbeneka. We've had a very interesting conversation, hearing what she wants to do when she becomes the president of LSK, for the lawyers and also for the people. Okay. Speaking of the people, you know, the people of Kenya are currently right now ingesting BBI. It's interesting because if you ask most Kenyans, they haven't read the document. As a lawyer, in your lawyer capacity, what would have been the best way to teach Kenyans about BBI?
Kwambox, I'll start with the fact that we have had other processes. We've had Punguza Mzigo.
Yeah.
This went to the county assemblies. And I felt there was more interrogation of the Punguza Mzigo in terms of process.
Yes.
Because then the people's representatives hopefully were able to internalize the document and sensitize the public about it.
Yeah.
This is what's lacking with this particular document.
But
perhaps
the leaders themselves said they did not want this document to go first to the members of parliament. They wanted it to go to the people first.
Which hasn't happened. Yeah, it's only gone to the people through the media.
Governance. Yeah.
The media and the political platforms.
Yeah.
The process of collecting the views was a good process. So perhaps they should adopt a similar process, because in Kenya, remember, public participation is anchored in the law.
Yeah.
So if you want to legitimize a document or any process in Kenya, you must undertake public participation so that you have the real views.
Yeah.
So anyway, when people gave their views, they were, summarized and put in a document.
Yeah.
So what we want to see is whether what we said was captured in the document.
We haven't seen the document, so we'll just wait. And Brian?
Miguna.
Yeah.
What say you?
Court orders must be obeyed. What is happening to Miguna is really, really unfortunate.
Okay.
He has had not just one court order, asking the government or directing the government to allow him back in. Now we have theatrics all over the place with some alerts, red alerts, and whether or not he is able to travel because of these alerts.
Yeah.
Before saying that he could come back, these issues needed to have been ironed out, so that if it's a travel document that is required or if it's a ban that needs to be lifted, it's lifted. And then Miguna is also directed what to do to be able to allow him to follow the procedure that is required when it comes to air travel, because air travel is also regulated.
Yes.
So facilitate that, ensure he's able to come back. When you don't follow the process, and it looks like to us as Kenyans that you're blocking this person from coming back, it shows impunity on the part of the government.
Yeah.
Yes.
It shows that they're not coming to the table with clean hands. So there needs to be a clearing of that misconception or perception that the government is still the one laying roadblocks when it comes to Miguna's travel.
Okay.
Come out clearly, say we have done our bit. This is what he needed to comply with for us to be able to comply with the court order. Otherwise, we are going round in circles. We're looking at a government that is disobeying court orders, but it's not the first time they've done it with regards to Miguna. Additionally, you've seen situations where other members of the public have been affected by the disobedience of court orders. We want court orders to be obeyed in this country. Otherwise, as a government, as an executive, you lack legitimacy if you're the same person who's breaking the law.
I love it. Thank you so much for coming through, Maria. And I think we're going to be inviting you, especially when we want to just decipher some of this legal mumbo jumbo that's going on in the media.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, that has been a conversation with LSK presidential aspirant Maria Mbeneka.
Catch the vibes on air and online.